The last person CEO Victor Hale expected to take control of a crisis was the maintenance contractor. Especially one she barely knew. And certainly not one who began with the words, "Stay quiet. Follow me." Yet 10 minutes later, she was doing exactly that. The day had started badly. Then somehow gotten worse. Victoria's company was preparing for the largest merger in its history. Billions of dollars. Years of planning. Hundreds of jobs depending on the outcome. Every executive was under pressure. Especially Victoria. 3 nights without proper sleep hadn't helped. Neither had the constant phone calls. Or the investors. Or the lawyers. Or the board members who suddenly discovered 27 new concerns the week before signing. By noon, she had a migraine. By 3 o'clock, she was running on caffeine and stubbornness. By 5? She was trapped in an elevator. Not metaphorically. Literally. The elevator stopped between floors with a violent jolt. The lights flickered. Then darkness. Then emergency lighting. Then silence. Complete silence. Victoria stared at the closed doors. No. The word escaped automatically. Her heart immediately accelerated. She pressed buttons. Nothing. Pressed the emergency call button. Static. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Then a voice came from behind her. Calm. Steady. Unexpected. It's okay. Victoria turned. She wasn't alone. A man stood near the back wall holding a toolbox. Mid-30s. Work clothes. Company contractor badge. Maintenance. Great. At least someone could fix elevators. Maybe. Then he extended a hand. Daniel Carter. Victoria shook it automatically. Victoria. He glanced at her expensive suit. The custom watch. The executive badge hanging from her neck. Then smiled slightly. Tough day? She laughed once. A humorless laugh. You have no idea. The elevator remained still. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. The air felt warmer. The space felt smaller. Victoria hated small spaces. Always had. Something Daniel noticed immediately. You're claustrophobic. It wasn't a question. Victoria frowned. How do you know? You're breathing too fast. She hadn't even realized it. Then Daniel crouched beside his toolbox. Opened it. And pulled out a small flashlight. Look at this. What? The flashlight. She stared. Confused. Then irritated. Then confused again. What am I looking for? Nothing. Daniel smiled. Just focus on it. Strangely, it worked. The simple distraction interrupted the spiral forming in her mind. Her breathing slowed slightly. Then Daniel began talking. Not about elevators. Not about the situation. About completely random things. His daughter. A dog that kept stealing sandwiches from a local park. The world's worst attempt at homemade pizza. Stories. Simple stories. Normal stories. Anything except the fact they were trapped. Eventually Victoria asked. Do you always do this? Do what? Talk to panicking strangers. Daniel laughed. Only on weekdays. Despite herself, she smiled. The first genuine smile she'd managed all day. Then something changed. A noise. Faint. Almost impossible to hear. Daniel immediately stopped talking. His expression shifted. Listening. Focused. Then he stood. Stay quiet. Victoria frowned. What? Stay quiet. He moved toward the elevator doors, listening carefully. Then he looked back at her and said the words she'd remember forever. Follow me. Victoria stared. We're in an elevator. I know. There's nowhere to go. Daniel ignored that. Instead, he pressed his ear against the door. Then pointed toward a maintenance panel. Help me move this. Now she was completely confused. But something in his voice made her listen. The confidence. The certainty. The absence of panic. So she helped. Together they moved the panel. Then Daniel knelt. Listening again. More carefully this time. Then his eyes widened. Just slightly. What is it? Victoria asked. Daniel looked up. His expression serious now. Very serious. Someone else is trapped. Silence. What? Not in this elevator. A pause. In the shaft access corridor. Victoria's stomach dropped. There was a maintenance corridor between floors. She vaguely remembered hearing about it. Then Daniel explained. The sound is faint. Another pause. But somebody's knocking. 3 soft taps echoed. Almost imperceptible. Now she heard it too. A person. Somewhere nearby. Calling for help. And apparently nobody else had noticed. Daniel immediately grabbed his radio. Dead. No signal. Perfect. Then he made a decision. Fast. The kind of decision people make when they don't have time to doubt themselves. He looked at Victoria. Stay close. Then he opened an emergency access panel. The CEO stared. Can you do that? Daniel smiled. I install them. Fair point. What happened over the next 15 minutes felt unreal. Daniel guided her through a narrow maintenance passage. Dark. Dusty. Uncomfortable. Nothing like the polished corporate offices above. Yet he moved confidently. Purposefully. Listening for the sound. Following it. Again and again. Until finally. Knock. 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 Much louder now. Then they found him. A young technician. Injured. Pinned after a maintenance accident. Conscious. But barely. And completely cut off from communication. Another hour without help could have been disastrous. Maybe worse. Victoria watched as Daniel immediately took control. Calm.